Hello guys, this is Niyati Shah and you are watching EduVent's Vocal for Local series, and today on the episode we have Mr. Jatin Chaudhary, founder of eChai. And eChai is a business network basically, and if you are in the field of entrepreneurship, even if you are an aspiring entrepreneur, you must have heard about eChai, because basically eChai is the place where all the entrepreneurs, so basically our community people meet and exchange their ideas and help each other out with getting better and better each single day. So let's welcome Jatin Chaudhary on the platform. Thank you so much, sir, for being on the platform.
Thank you so much for giving us the platform.
That's our pleasure. So, sir, basically my first question is, how did you come up with the idea of eChai? Because it started back before 12 years, right?
Yep. So we started in 2009. So the basic idea was 2009 was the time where entrepreneurship was booming. Of course, Gujarat is known for entrepreneurship. But modern technology startups. So the idea was the group of founders, aspiring founders, come together and try to help each other. So we started literally at a tea stall, Ruturat tea stall.
Okay.
That's why the name eChai, Entrepreneur's Chai.
Yes.
And then it evolved from that. But that was the founding story.
Okay, that's amazing. And as we all know that this is basically under the category of service industry mostly, right? And people face a lot of issues with monetization of the overall startup idea, which is basically inculcated in the service industry. So how did you manage to monetize eChai, and how long it took for you to monetize the overall venture?
So it was very difficult. So with eChai, we had a certain ideas and we wanted to build in a certain way, so we could wait longer. So it took us 9 years to monetize eChai. But for that first 9 years, so we were growing, we were scaling up. But typically, the business that eChai is in, it's a network. We do events and we bring people together. So easier business model is, if you are able to bring 100 people together, there is always going to be someone who would want to be in front of those 100 people. So you get sponsorship.
Yes.
But we never wanted to do that. We never wanted to do things because we have to do it because somebody will get impressed and they will sponsor us. So we waited for a long, so 9 years we started a membership. So what happened by then, eChai had scaled up and there were a lot of people who were getting greater value.
Right.
And they were like, we want to contribute. And then we thought, okay, this is the right time. So it started with 100 rupees per year, then 1000 rupees. Right now it is 2000.
Right.
There is institutional membership also. But for the first 9 years, we were able to survive 2-3 reasons. Between me and my partner Kunal, we were skillful. So whenever we needed money, we would do some consulting projects so that we can sustain. And another thing, we had good friends. So whenever we were short of money, there are always going to be some friends, and we will ask like, why don't you help us this time?
Right.
So that helped us sustain, and then now it is doing well.
And that's amazing and impressive at the same time, because our generation don't have such kind of patience to wait for 9 long years.
I might not have that patience. Again, it just happened. It was very difficult, and I even myself won't repeat that.
Oh God. Okay. So sir, what was the minimum viable product in eChai? Because it was 9 years, and again the model is right now on the subscription basis, right?
Yep.
So what was the minimum viable product that you introduced?
So eChai's business model is that you get annual access to eChai's meetups and the online platform. So by the 9th year, we always had that product. It's just that when we wanted to charge. So my idea was always that if somebody is paying, they should get a greater value. Anyways, people were getting the value. So that's why we started the 100 rupees per year. So there were a set of people who were like, this is much more valuable than 100 rupees. And every time we would scale, we would introduce new features. So then we made it 500 rupees. So we gradually increased the price. So if somebody is paying you 100 rupees, they should get a worth 1000 rupees. So that's why we started with 100 rupees. But the value proposition was, you get access to the meetups. A lot of those things that entrepreneurial support system would provide would happen through a meetup. So that was our primary product. So as we increased the meetups, we started to bring some good speakers, and then that got associated with the price that we would have.
Right. And right now, what all sorts of services eChai is providing?
Pretty much the same thing. We do events. So if you pay 2000 rupees per year, you get access to events. We end up partnering with a lot of organizations who themselves organize a lot of startup events.
Right.
So eChai members get a free access to that.
Right.
On our online platform, there is a feature where you can book one-on-one calls with each other, with other founders. So a startup would either need a networking or a knowledge.
Right.
So eChai provides these two things.
Right. And networking, as like you mentioned, that plays a big role in right now in the ecosystem, because I have seen so many, my people around in the ecosystem and who have great ideas but are lacking somewhere in the business network, and that is the sole reason that they are lagging behind. And people who are having good network around them, they have scaled up like we could have never imagined that such kind of people might have gone to this level. So that basically like plays a vital role. So
and
that
we are playing on that idea only.
Right,
that
right.
is how our business exists.
And eChai is like very famous. In fact, to all this like entrepreneurs that we have interviewed till now, or we have met for any sort of reason, may it be to take the session on our platform or to be on the guest on the podcast list or YouTube list, they have been part of eChai at some point. So that shows how expanded and how the eChai is serving in the whole ecosystem. Also, so like as you are closely working with entrepreneurs on your daily basis, so what is your take on this, that like which kind of startups will make it big in upcoming 5 years?
So there are 2-3 ways of looking at it. A, which are the sectors which might become big. People are talking about electric vehicles, or space tech is hitting up, agri-tech with the new agriculture reforms policies. So there are sectors which would boom. So that is one set of the things. Another would be people with a certain domain skills. Like if somebody is industry experience and starts a startup, there are very high chances they'll do well. So that is one angle to it, that people with certain skill set would do well. Another thing, people who are little ambitious. If you are ambitious, you'll, even if you don't have that skill, even if you don't have that support, you'll still go out and do well. So the combination of those 5-6 and having a right sector, that would become wonders, because there are examples where there are sectors which are not that popular or hitting up, but there are founders who are able to build greater business out of it. Right.
Sir, like coming to the very next question, and which most of the aspiring entrepreneurs and the entrepreneurs who are just starting off face the problems with, finding the right team members. Like how many team members are there in eChai, and how did you connect to each of your team members? Like what skill set you look for in the team members?
Yeah, so in eChai's case, of course, it's a business. So it will have a typical business structure. But we are very unique in that sense. We are a community. So there are a lot of people who spend their time and efforts contributing to the things that eChai would do. And with this gig worker economy, that is also playing a role in what we are doing. So full time we are 2 people, me and Kunal. I'm the salesman, he is the engineer of the company.
Okay.
And then we have a lot of city heads. So in different cities, people who lead eChai chapters in their cities. So they are founders themselves, they run their own businesses, but they volunteer for the eChai, and there is some reward that they get.
Right.
And similarly, in every city we have a chapter, there is a city leader. So they contribute a lot of their time. And there are a lot of founders who are successful founders, but they would volunteer their time and effort for eChai's programs or the efforts.
Wow.
So in a way, full-time 2 people, but there is a huge community. There would be at least every month at least 200-300 people who would be spending more than 2 hours for some sort of activity that eChai would do.
Right. So basically eChai is creating a legacy, and that will be carry forwarded for years and years. Right. So sir, very next question is something that I am very excited and curious to know about, that how did you take eChai globally, because right now it is present in 15 countries. So how did you do that?
2-3 things happened. A, we were aware about what was happening in other ecosystems. So that was one of the good things with eChai. Even though we were in Ahmedabad, we were aware of what is happening in Silicon Valley, what is happening in Berlin. Another thing happened was those who were with eChai as a volunteer or as a participants, whenever they grow in their life, they take eChai with them. So for example, Jwalant was a volunteer with us in Ahmedabad. He went to Singapore to do masters in Nanyang Business School. So he in a way started eChai over there, and he helped set up the entrepreneurship cell at Nanyang Business School. Same thing happened with Karan, who was a volunteer with us, who was leading our Mumbai chapter. He went to Melbourne with RMIT, and we started doing a lot of programs with their incubator. So another good thing happened with us, whenever we used to launch eChai chapters in a foreign country or a city, we were significantly valuable to our local partners. So typically what happens, people who try to piggyback on their local partners. We were super valuable. We will bring a better speaker than they could bring in. We will bring in the audience, newer audience to them. So once they started seeing that eChai is a valuable partner, and they'll come back stronger with their more support or resources. So it's an incredible story with us. eChai, we slogged for 9 years. Then people started realizing eChai is good in Ahmedabad, eChai is good in Mumbai or Hyderabad. But our international avatar is as good as anybody. Like eChai Toronto, the kind of speakers we had, any big ticket organizer or big ticket network, they would also bring in the same set of speakers.
Same set of speakers.
So this combination of these 3-4 things, we were aware. So when we launched our chapter in Toronto, the founder of ClearBank had joined. ClearBank is a $2 billion company. So every time we were able to work with good local partners, good speakers, but a lot of these things comes down to we had a good credibility.
Yes.
So people who knew us, they would vouch for us, and people who knew us little, they will also vouch for us. And we will do a lot of research and efforts. So that was a combination of these things that helped us scale up internationally.
Right. So next question is like, what was the low in the journey? Like the point when you were almost about to give up or something, any such point?
So 2012 was the time. So what happened, for the first 3 years, I had some savings through my jobs, and my partner Kunal used to run an IT company. So for 3 years we never faced a financial problem.
Right.
But 2012 was the time that we had no income, and we were struggling with the things that we wanted to do, because we used to do events, we used to pay for the venue. So that 6 months, 9 months, we stopped doing the events. Else, we used to pay for the venue. Events were free. We used to give snacks to everybody and just do the events. Then those 9 months, we consolidated that. We stopped doing the events. At the same time, we had another side business called Sweetly, where we used to work with a lot of tribal women in Dang district to enable them make handmade jewelry, which we used to sell in US and Canada market. So for those 9 months, we focused on that. So we started making some revenue from that. And then by that time, what happened? We had a brand, and a lot of other organizations in Ahmedabad, they were also getting into startups and entrepreneurship.
Right.
So and so they wanted an audience. We had an audience. We never had the resources. So GCCI wanted to do events. So we started doing events with them. So we started getting a lot of those good venues for free.
Right.
And then we were able to make a strong comeback. But those 9 months in 2012 were very difficult.
Right. Next question is, sir, like what will be your recommendations for the aspiring entrepreneurs in regards of books, podcasts and videos?
So I'm a very strong advocate. I would have at least got my 100 friends to listen to podcasts.
Okay.
So if you're watching this video, I will strongly urge you to identify your interest areas and listen to the podcast. But so 3-4 things I absolutely love is how I built this. The guy Raz interviews, he's one of the best hosts. But how I built this, Masters of Skills and Business Wars. And a lot of things that we do at eChai are also in a way podcasts.
Yes,
so you can listen to
eChai
them.
also have a YouTube channel too, right?
Yep.
Right. Sir, next and the last question is like, what will be your one piece of advice to the aspiring entrepreneurs who are just starting off?
So earlier I used to tell people that be skillful, be helpful. That if you are skillful and if you are helpful, you'll do well in your life. But now I've started realizing the value of make good friends.
Right.
So make good friends in your life. Whatever you are doing, starting a business or taking up a job, at the end of the day, having a good circle of those 5-6 friends will come very, very handy.
Right. And again, eChai is all about it, right? Networking, making friends, and taking all of them together in the journey. So it was a great session, and I hope you have got your learnings really well. And again, I thank Mr. Jatin Chaudhary for being here. And also, eChai also has its YouTube channel, podcast also, and we will put the links down in the description. So just do check it out and stay happy.
And thank you so much, Niyati, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir.